Breaking overnight, one person is dead after a plane crash in rural Washington County. As you're waking up and getting your own breakfast ready, parents are scrambling to find formula for their babies. This as a nationwide shortage is worsening. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday morning. Happy hump day to you. So good to have you here. I'm Laura Simon. We're working to gather more information after a lot of police activity on I-49 in Rogers. So many people like me are shopping for what they want online. So more doorsteps are looking like this and more mall parking lots are looking like this. Hi, Ruben. Good morning. Yeah, they haven't confirmed at this point which school had a positive case of COVID-19, but the superintendent says they found out about the positive test on Friday. The sheriff says once the inmates were able to get out of their jail cell, they were able to get into this detention facility office, push a button, come out this door into the lobby and out the front door of the building. Kids are back in school, most of them at least, and pens and pencils aren't the only thing they're going to be sharing. Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson says he might run for president in 2024. A judge will issue a ruling pretty soon on travel restrictions for this man from Gravette, photographed here in House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office. There's no doubt, here's my pun this morning for you, Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani are very much still in love. In fact, they even got married over the weekend. If you ever wished your seltzer water had a little kick to it, you're going to want to stick around for this next story.
That's if you drink seltzer water?
Yeah, or if you drink alcohol, because now the two are combined, and we're going to tell you why this means big business. You can join our book club, Zach.
She doesn't really read for the book club. She doesn't read it consistently, and then at the last minute tries to cram it all in.
It doesn't matter. Reading gets reading it.
Here's the secret. What you do, you download an audiobook and you listen to it on like 2 times the speed and
that counts.
You plow through it. Yeah.
That's cheating.
No,
it's not cheating. Reading a story and listening to it is the same
thing. I'm still consuming all the info.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Good Monday morning, everybody. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day here on 5 News This Morning. Good to have you here. I'm Laura Simon. We start this half hour with breaking news. There's been some sort of an explosion in Fort Smith, and crews believe that a grain silo caught on fire near Wheeler and South B Street. This happened around 4:15 this morning. Police do not believe anyone is hurt, thankfully. The Fort Smith Fire Department's there now working to get things under control. Police, meantime, are diverting traffic from A to I Street. So if you need to drive through this area, you will want to take a different route. This week, a judge will decide how long Josh Duggar will spend in prison. You'll remember a jury found him guilty of downloading and possessing child pornography. Both the defense and the prosecution sent their recommendations to the judge ahead of the sentencing. Duggar's attorneys are asking for a lighter sentence of 5 years, while the prosecution's asking for the maximum of 20 years. A jury found the former reality star guilty back in December. This morning, a new report reveals leaders at the Southern Baptist Convention stonewalled survivors of clergy sex abuse for almost 2 decades. According to the Associated Press, an independent firm conducted a 7-month probe into how the group handled abuse reports. It shows a few senior leaders largely controlled responses to the reports. Ronnie Floyd served as the president and CEO of the SBC's executive committee, but he resigned in October of 2021 while criticizing decisions by the third-party review. Floyd is mentioned in the 288-page report more than 120 times. He previously served as senior pastor of Cross Church in Northwest Arkansas. Some relief for parents this morning in the baby formula shortage. Military personnel unloaded the first shipment of baby formula from Europe over the weekend. This is the first of several shipments expected from Europe this week. Today is your last chance to vote early in Arkansas's preferential primary election. So if you want to avoid the rush on election day, you can cast your ballot from 8 this morning till 5 this afternoon. Election day, of course, is tomorrow. Polls will be open from 7:30 tomorrow morning until 7:30 tomorrow night. You can find out where to cast your ballot by heading to our website, 5newsonline.com. All you got to do is click on the Arkansas Primary 2022 tab at the top of our homepage. Hopefully you had a great weekend despite the chillier temperatures. I had a friend text me yesterday saying, I'm waiting for the temperatures to warm up to take my family to the water park in Fort Smith. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I think next weekend might be a better bet.
Again, it won't be too bad. My goodness, Laura.
It's not that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You don't need this heavy of a coat today, but this is what I walked out the door wearing this morning. Just my PSA for you.
It's not even that bad in the studio. You never know what it's going to be in here. But
like I said earlier, it's long sleeve weather. It's not.
This will be on when our newscast is over.
Has the fur inside?
It's down material. It was a rainy night last summer. Two men stopped their car to help a stranded driver in Sequoyah County. Instead of a thank you, they were both shot. The suspect accused of the shooting is due back in court next month. I sat down with the victims and found out why they continue being kind, knowing their lives will never be the same.
I was former law enforcement, and so one of the big things that you always fear, especially in law enforcement, is getting shot.
That fear became a reality on July 17th last year. Derek Riggs and Jake Myers were on I-40 when they saw a driver stranded. They drove the man to this convenience store in Bayan. Surveillance video captures them buying the man, Lee King, a gallon of gas. They even got him a bottle of water, but something felt off.
I was really uncomfortable. There was a really dark feeling with this guy in the back seat.
They took King back to his car. Jake went to get the gas container out of their trunk, but the hatch was locked. That's the moment Derek says he noticed King had a gun in the back seat. He tried grabbing it from him. When Jake got back into the car, he says King started firing. Derek says he was shot first.
I knew that I was being shot. I couldn't feel it. I couldn't feel any pain or anything, because I think my adrenaline had kicked in, my fight or flight had kicked in, and I'm just trying to survive.
Derek tells me King shot him twice in the abdomen and once in the leg. The bullet hole in his gas pedal reminds him of that day every day.
All in all, I think I was probably in the hospital for about a month, and then I spent time in inpatient, doing rehab, trying to learn to walk again.
Jake was shot in the jaw. He's had several surgeries.
They came in and took a piece of my fibula bone from my leg and rebuilt my jaw.
According to the OSBI, King carjacked and shot a woman in Oklahoma City earlier that day. Jake and Derek often wonder how they survived, but now they think they understand why this happened to them.
I think it was to get somebody off of the streets that didn't need to be on the streets.
The biggest lesson they've learned? Trust your gut.
I did feel a little anxious all day long, just about. Like something was wrong, but I couldn't quite figure out what it was.
It changed us forever.
Jake is getting his first dental implant surgery later this morning, and Derek will need surgery on his shoulder soon. He dislocated it trying to grab the gun and has been having issues with it ever since. Lee King is due back in court on May 31st. He's charged with 2 counts of shooting with intent to kill and 1 count of maiming. The only way to access Jamie Patterson's farmland right now is by boat. Nearly 1,500 acres are under this water. To put that in perspective for you, that's about 1,000 football fields. His crops like corn and soybeans are gone.
Mother Nature is in charge. You know, people say, so it's great you get to be your own boss. Well, that's the furthest thing from the truth. I do what the weather allows.
Patterson's land runs along the Arkansas River north of Lavaca, so he's dealt with flooding before, but not like this.
As it was coming up, I was heartbroken.
The river stands nearly 20 feet above flood stage. This is the first time the river has ever been this high, ever. The disaster is also affecting people's livelihood in Oklahoma. Justin Sebo is a 4th-generation farmer in Spiro.
Our wheat harvest was just a couple weeks away. It's totally destroyed. The soybeans that we had planted, the corn we had planted is totally destroyed.
What was your reaction when you saw the flooding this time around?
It's a gut punch. I mean, it's just like somebody hits you right in the stomach. You just don't know what to do.
Sebo says he'll make next to nothing this year and still has to pay 50 employees.
We've lost our businesses for the year for sure. Some of them may have lost their business forever.
Patterson is still totaling the damage.
As it sits, I have 500 acres worth of seed in my barn up there, so we got some time. Maybe if the water goes down, we can go back and replant and maybe salvage some of the year.
Sebo and Patterson have been farming for decades. They say historic flooding won't stop them from believing brighter days are ahead.
It is what it is. You can get heartbroken over it and be real sad, or you can just kind of keep your chin up and go on.
The farmer's a resilient person. It takes that type of person to do this work.
So both those farmers are hopeful that the water will go down soon enough to where they can actually plant soybeans before July, maybe the first 2 weeks into July. But we are definitely thinking of all the farmers this morning. Son of Sam, the .44 caliber killer. These headlines spread widespread terror for a year in New York City. Police looked at Bob McGuire as a suspect. In fact, McGuire was almost a victim. The first murder happened in July 1976.
Most of the other shootings occurred like in little lovers lane areas that had easy access to highways and parkways.
McGuire's chilling encounter happened when he took his girlfriend to a lover's lane in Queens.
And he parked like 2 spots over from us. And she started getting nervous, saying that, what's this guy doing here by himself?
The son of Sam tipped off a newspaper reporter to his serial shootings. The bizarre case became one of the largest manhunts in history. At the same time, police released this composite sketch describing the suspect as a man with dark hair anywhere between 5'8" and 6'2".
My features were very similar. I had the same jet black hair.
Police noticed the similarities too.
And I happened to look up one time and I see a cop car coming diagonally across the street right at me. I said, what the heck's going on?
They took McGuire in for questioning, but detectives continued following him after his release.
It scared the hell out of me.
A parking ticket near the final murder led investigators to the real son of Sam, 24-year-old David Berkowitz.
Every suspect that they had under surveillance was cleared. And I remember when I heard that is when I looked at her and I said, thank God.
As McGuire watched the news, his experience came full circle.
They're showing the car. They're showing his car. They're examining the car. And I'm looking at, that's the car we saw in Forest Park.
Berkowitz killed 6 people and injured 7 others. He's been incarcerated since his arrest. All these decades later, McGuire can't get over the irony.
Here I was, one of the suspects, and as it turned out, I was almost one of the earlier victims.
Today, McGuire lives a quieter life in Northwest Arkansas. Covering news where you live, Laura Simon, 5 News. Hey guys, good morning. Hey Elijah, hey Nick, hey Mary, hey James. OJ, you're headed back to work. Well, how was your lazy day off? You hopped off Facebook Live yesterday and you told us you were going back to sleep. I couldn't believe you were even up watching us. Got about 30 seconds left in our break, so I'm gonna move to our next shot. Try not to trip this time. But see those boxes on the ground. Give our shorter anchors a little bit more of a boost. So that's why Darren Bob always stands on the boxes. I'm just kidding. Not Darren. All right, bye guys. Have a good weekend. We'll see you on Monday.